All right, hang on a second. Let me call you back. All right.
Okay. Well, welcome again. It may be raining outside, but it is sunny in here. We are excited about today because we are able to sign the Tort Reform Bill that I think was so desperately needed in South Carolina. We were the only state in the Southeast to not have a cap on punitive damages. And what that did was, in recruitment, as we are trying to bring companies to our state, it was automatically becoming a conversation piece on why we had not done it. This is a step in the right direction, helping me make sure that all the jobs that we are trying to bring to South Carolina come easily. It's a step in the right direction for small businesses everywhere that need lower costs and need to know that they can focus on running their business and not worry about trial lawyers. And I will tell you that when this conversation came to play, we had a couple of different press conferences, and everybody got in the weeds. And I said, this is very simply a vote that is either for businesses or for trial lawyers. And so what you saw was that was the vote that the legislators took. I want to absolutely thank the grassroots that pushed this so very hard, and thank you for the push that let all the legislators realize that we were watching. I want to thank the Civil Justice Coalition that continues to be extremely pro-business in everything that we try and do. I want to thank the Speaker for leading the cause in the House and making sure that we continue to push pro-business legislation. And I want to challenge the legislature to carry this on next year and understand that when you pass tort reform, you never stop. You always say, how do we strengthen it? What else can we do? And I would encourage you to consider a loser pay system, because I think that is ultimately where we want to go in the state of South Carolina. So with that, I will turn it over to the Speaker.
Thank you very much, Governor. Governor, thank you so much. That was behind me doesn't mean to start applause. God bless you. This law is about one issue. It's about one issue only. It's about jobs. Tort reform is one of the most effective tools that we needed to have in order to secure jobs, to bring more jobs to South Carolina. Tort reform means jobs. South Carolina is a great place to do business. South Carolina is a great place because of our pro-business atmosphere here. We're a right-to-work state. Talk the hell out of here. We have some of the lowest taxes in the nation. We have an outstanding workforce, and now we have lawsuit abuse reform laws that we desperately needed to put on the books. Without this crucial tort reform law, South Carolina would be less competitive than our neighboring states. That's because our neighboring states have already passed laws to reduce frivolous lawsuits and cap punitive damages. Businesses in South Carolina, particularly small businesses, are often, too often, one frivolous lawsuit away from being out of business. This new tort reform law will help put a stop to unnecessary and costly frivolous lawsuits. It will lower the cost of doing business in our state. It'll bring a fair balance to our legal system. It'll make us much more competitive in economic development, and it will still provide our citizens with the kind of protection that they need from wrongdoing and from negligence. This year, a strong tort reform bill passed the House by a vote of 100 to 7. Let me say that again. 100 to 7. This isn't a Republican versus Democrat bill. Quite frankly, in the House, it wasn't even a lawyer versus non-lawyer bill. There definitely are more than 7 lawyers in the South Carolina House. This is a competition or competitive versus non-competitive issue, and it's a job creation versus job killer issue. I want to thank the Governor for her leadership and working so hard to help keep folks on track to get this done. House and Senate members, Senator Martin, to you and the other senators who worked so hard across the hall to make sure that we got this bill through and got it done. To the hard-working South Carolina business owners and employees for whom this really is the biggest benefit because of the opportunities it gives us to be able to bring jobs. Growing jobs and strengthen our economy is something that we take very seriously here at the State House. This represents real reform. This represents real results. And the new law that we've passed is a reform that businesses and employees across our state will directly feel and directly prosper as a result of. Just delighted to be a part of this, and again, Governor, as I said, thank you very much. I'd like to introduce to you Harry Light. See, Harry and I have been friends for a very long time, since he owned Bell South in South Carolina. I don't know, channel 10 your microphone for this. There we go, fixed it. So please welcome Harry Light.
Thank you very much. As both the governor and the speaker have said, this really is the culmination of an effort that began in 2003 when our coalition came together, made up of businesses all across the state, large businesses and small businesses. And if you think back to where we were in 2003, Hampton County was nationally recognized as a litigation hellhole. Businesses did not want to come to South Carolina because they knew that if they came to South Carolina, they were going to get dragged into a litigation hellhole. And so businesses in this state came together and said, this has to change. And we were already behind. Many states had begun civil justice reform in the 1990s. And so by the time we came here, our opposition was well organized and they were well financed. And without mentioning all the lawyers that are in the legislature, many of those trial lawyers, those television trial lawyers, were in key spots in the legislature. So in order for us to make progress, it certainly took strong leadership. And that's what we're here to really recognize. Strong leadership in the House, Speaker Harrell, even Speaker Wilkinson before, Chairman Harrelson, and others. Leadership in the Senate, President Pro Tem McConnell, Senator Martin, Majority Leader Peeler, all had oars in the water over many, many years to make this day come here. And this is Representative Clemens as well. Thank you, sir. And so this is the culmination of all that. So we want to thank the leadership of both the House and the Senate, but we want to make a special thank you to our governor, who was the difference maker this year. Her staff, led by Trey Walker, and the governor's strong position on tort reform really gave us the momentum for success. So, Governor, thank you for your leadership, and thank all of you.
What I expect to be a very strong pro-business state for years to come. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for your leadership. And to the Civil Justice Coalition, who we could not have done this without making sure that all our businesses were protected. Thank you very much. This is a great day for South Carolina. Thank you. Yes, and I do want to also acknowledge all of the House and Senators that came together. This really was, if you look, he said 107 in the House, but I think it was 39-0 in the Senate. Does that sound right? Overwhelmingly in the Senate. So I think it's a sign that we have a legislature that understands jobs are priority number one and understand that we have to continue carrying this forward to be pro-business. Did you want to know?
I just want to make sure that folks, House members and senators who are here, raise your hands so folks make sure that this happens. These are the folks who went to those votes and made that happen.
Okay, now we'll open it up for questions. Tort reform questions first, because these guys have to get upstairs, and then any questions after.
Was there anything that was not in the bill that came to your desk that you would like to see?
I mean, I think that anytime you're taking on tort reform, it's like I said, I'd love to see a loser pay system. You know, I'd like to see this as strong as possible. What I will say is, this was, the House version was $350,000 cap. I would have loved to have seen that go through, but the Senate version initially didn't have a cap at all. The fact that we came down and got a cap is a huge win for South Carolina. It's a great talking point for me as I'm talking to companies to say, and I've been using it constantly, that we pass tort reform. But what I would do is challenge what is a pro-business legislature to keep on going. Every year we should say, what's next? Every year we should say, how are we going to help the small businesses this year? And keep that rolling. Any other questions? On tort reform? Okay, any other questions?
Yesterday in Boston at the NAACP meeting, Benjamin Jealous called again for the state to take the Confederate flag down. What would your comment be to him?
You know, what I would tell you is that it was under a Democratic governor where Republicans and Democrats, blacks and whites came together on a compromise on what was a very sensitive issue. And the compromise, while the compromise was not loved by everyone, it was settled by everyone, and I think it's easy for someone from the outside to think they know the dynamics of our state, but they don't, and it's not a priority for